Dear listeners of Gaudiamus Music Festival, we're back again with the second podcast of a series this season. We're now April 2021, and we have with us the most special artist guest from the island of Java in Indonesia, live, Peni Candra Rini. Welcome, selamat datang Peni.
Terima kasih, selamat datang Mas.
Kabar sehat? You healthy?
I'm so healthy, I'm so sehat, terima kasih.
Nice to hear. You seem to be in a studio?
Yeah, I'm in studio here. In studio for recording my own studio.
Right, in the middle of work, live. This is morning in Europe, this is the afternoon in Java. And we are very privileged to have you developing a special podcast for this series of how to listen to music that we're not used to. And you tell us in the very beginning of your podcast that you come from a village in Eastern Java where you grew up in a family of fishermen, and your father was a professional fisherman, but he sang a lot for you and you learned many, many lyrics and many songs. So that made you a professional musician. What an amazing change of a lifestyle, isn't it? Ada gantian besar dalam hidupmu, kan?
Iya.
Dari Entrong sampai ke Surakarta.
Iya,
Bagaimana gantian itu?
Ini sangat perjalanan panjang. That's why I wrote Maduswara, because from my memoir, long memoir as a Eastern Javanese little girls, anak dari seorang dalang, like child of the puppet master. Bapak saya fisherman, and we are very poor, even I'm child. Dan ketika bapak saya mendidik saya untuk nembang, di sanalah bapak memberikan saya semacam doktrin. Ini adalah masa depanmu. This is your future. You will be a assassin in the future, Penny. You will continue your father culture.
And he was very deep in Javanese culture, but was a puppeteer, not a professional one, but he was very knowledgeable, right, in his art.
Yeah, he's very knowledgeable in arts, but he not famous, but he have belief that I believe that my future, my kids' future is as all as a traditional artist. But in my side, people like, why I an artist? Why I should ask an artist in the future, Papa? I asked him, and Papa said, I don't want you as like same your father's way. You know what I mean? We are poor. We cannot survive just from the artist. So you should go to Central Java to study real gamelan. You will meet with great people there who knows about really gamelan, how to play. And you will close with the kingdom, with Kasunanan. So there is the place for gamelan, and I believe with your beautiful voice, you will live and you will famous, not like your father. That is my father doctrine on my brain, and every time when I companion my father go to the ocean.
Wow, and it worked because you went to the city Surakarta, also called Solo. So did your sister, your brother, and you became a huge family of professional artists and very well known in the island.
Yeah, now I can feel that my father's dream is answered.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yes, now I live as a singer, I live as a composer, and I can go around the world by my vocal, and I play gamelan.
In Surakarta, Solo, there's a very important school of Javanese arts. But yes, what people sometimes don't know, it's also a laboratory for contemporary music, because of course tradition is very important. You have the millenary tradition and the many facets of art of gamelan, karawitan, wayang, with puppetry, with theater, dance. It's a very rich palette of artistic expressions. But at the same time, people are experimenting, people are creating new music, people are having adventures, sonorous adventures, and adventures on stage. And you discovered that at some stage within your study already, or when you were an early professional? When did you start creating your own material?
I was start my own material on composed music is on 2002 when I met with Pak Iwayan Sadra. I was joined with his group called Seni Ensemble. And that time 2001 I was his students, and I met with Pak Rahayu Supangga 2003, and Pak Pangga inviting me to join in his ensemble in Garasi Seni Menowo. And that time began, I opened my mind about it's gamelan is not only for the tradition, you know what I mean? It's gamelan can make with mixed with any art, mixed with other music, like combined together, and then you can do your voice not only in the traditional way, but we can cooking your voice,
Like the
memasak
eggs you have
suaramu.
behind you.
Ya, itu.
This has taken you worldwide, all of America, all of Europe. You've been to Asia. You've been to Africa. Whereabouts in
Yeah.
Africa have you been?
I have many times. I have 3 or 4 times. I think I was in Haifa Hariri International Festival of Arts. I did collaboration with Albert Sinetsa, and then I was play my own composition for Haifa too. So
To clarify, this is Zimbabwe, right?
yeah, in Zimbabwe.
You've been in Korea, both Koreas, North and South,
Yeah.
Japan, Malaysia,
Yeah.
all around the place, and your contemporary creation has taken you to share your music worldwide. So
Yeah,
we're
yeah.
curious. It seems like one doesn't need to know the rich tradition of gamelan music beforehand to appreciate your music, but maybe it helps. How do you combine offering new music to all sorts of public worldwide based on such a strong tradition for people that maybe don't know your tradition? Does it matter? Does it help? How do you deal with that?
I believe that arts is have same feel a same taste. That's we all feel sweet, or I create something sweet, people will feel it that I singing on sweet. So that's why gamelan is just the instrument, like alat.
Yeah.
Alat, like for this is alat. I will cooking from this alat, and then
Your microphone it must be hanging somewhere there.
oh,
So
sorry,
try-
sorry. Maybe
That's fine.
like this.
Alat is an instrument, so music is the means.
Instrument.
Yeah, indeed.
Yeah. So, and I believe that people around the world will be understand what I wrote in my music if I wrote it by the feelings. So people will feel it by them feelings too. Also, I always singing in Javanese language, and people around the world still understand what I singing feels. That's mean, music is word. Language is music. Is sound itself, and with the feelings, deep feelings. I think that is the key of me to keep going to create, and I believe people understand what I create.
Maybe we can explain to listeners that your native language is Javanese, which is a very complex, rich language with many levels of expressions, many levels of respect, and different vocabularies for every one of those levels. While
Yeah.
the language you and I speak is Indonesian, which is an easier accessible language, right?
Yeah.
It took me just a couple of months to learn, and that's the national language of the country, Indonesia, which you
Yeah.
also use where you teach, because you teach as a national institution, right?
Yeah.
And that's the official language, but nonetheless, you still sing in your native language, Javanese.
Yes. That's true.
You mentioned that you make sweet music, and that's also the title of your podcast, Maduswara. Madu means honey in Javanese.
Yes.
Indonesian as well, right? And swara means voice, so sweet or honey voice. And you take us actually right at the beginning of your podcast in a miniature journey of what you were just explaining, your departure from your little village where you sing your traditional songs until an enriched soundscape, crazy timbre, enriched by sound pollution, I think you call it in your podcast.
Yeah.
And all this journey, which is 1 hour of fantastic listening, but maybe we could just listen to the very beginning, the 1.5 minute that you create especially for us, where you take us from your original song to a modern contemporary gamelan composition to the string quartet at the end, right?
Yes, right.
Ayo kita mendengar. Indah sekali Mbak Penny.
Terima kasih,
Maduswara.
Mas.
Terima kasih. So you take us from your original melody, your own poetry, Maduswara, which you created for the occasion,
Yeah.
to a gamelan composition, and then at the end you tell us about being selected by the Kronos Quartet for 50 for the future. Okay,
Yep.
let's go slowly here. First of all, your poetry. Maybe you could share it with us in Javanese?
Yeah, sure. Maduswara. Tembang iku mitra setya tumrap ing lelampah panjang. This is my poetry. And then
You can listen to the translation in the podcast, right? You tell us right there. Sekarang bisa bernyanyi teks ini?
okay. Tembang iku mitra satya mitra tumrap peng lampah yes, this is a
Eager
part.
for more. Thank you, Pablo.
Ah,
Despite of the limitations of technology,
yeah.
this source melody takes you to a huge gamelan composition which you call Maduswara, which has been recorded already for some time, like last year. Tahun lalu
Yeah,
sudah
last year. Yeah, I did the recording 2019.
Let's listen to a tiny bit of that. Maduswara. kinds of different registers in your vocal expression.
Yes.
Something you've been discovering along your career, incorporating.
Yeah. Yeah, that is like I told you that this is journey of how my voice grow, how my knowledge about contemporary grow. That is from many sound coming in my body, and also what is now happened in front of me. I as a sinden, and I as a sinden lecturer in ISI Surakarta. So I have like something message for them to remind again what is you are as a sinden. That's it.
Right.
Mysterious.
The podcast is a fantastic invitation, first of all, to listen to traditional Karawitan, Javanese, gamelan music in any of its expression. And then it's a tremendous invitation of continuing listening to new creation and how this strong bubble of cooking music and artistic expression has just gone beyond the boundaries, right? Long ago of the island of Java and marveled the world. How, maybe you can tell us a tiny bit to end with, was a process of getting in touch with Kronos Quartet and getting a commission? How did you think of using this material of Maduswara, and how was the process of applying it to a contemporary string quartet?
Yeah, maybe I will speak in Bahasa Indonesia tuh.
Ya, silakan, Kak, masalah.
Is that okay? Oke, saya sangat bersyukur sekali bahwa karya musik saya, Maduswara, telah menemukan ruang-ruangnya. Bagaimana karya itu telah metamorfosis dari karya sastra, puisi yang saya buat dari perjalanan panjang saya seorang pesinden, kemudian menjadikannya bentuk cineman dalam format tradisi, kemudian saya merubahnya dalam wajah komposisi gamelan dan eksperimental vokal, dan saya bersyukur sekali ketika saya di United States 2019 I was met in the phone with David Harrington Kronos Quartet, and he asked me, Penny, bisakah kau bergabung untuk bekerja sama dengan Kronos Quartet, membuat komposisi untuk Kronos Quartet from your culture background as a pesinden and gamelan, and I want to feel the spirituality of Java by your composition, he said. And then it's like, my heart like beating very fast. Oh my God, this is Kronos Quartet call me. And I proposed my Maduswara for them, and then they are very love it. And then after mereka memberikan announcement kalau saya terpilih sebagai salah satu komposer untuk 50 for the Future Kronos Quartet Learning Repertoire from 50 composer from around the world, and will play my Maduswara composition on string quartet. And now I'm working on it, and they are still working on it to translate from gamelan composition to string quartet. And now I am working for collect the sound of nature of Javas like frogs, rain, thunder, geckos. I sent to them, and Maduswara by Kronos Quartet's version will play with the soundscape of Javanese. So
When akan dimainkan? When will it be played?
Hopefully very soon. Now, because maybe I will the last 50 for the Future in the Kronos Quartet program.
Some announcement for Holland Festival in June, July already?
Hopefully, I wish. If if Holland Festival invite Kronos Quartet, maybe I can tell to Kronos Quartet to play it, because I was performing in Holland Festival, I think 2 years ago with Setan Java movie. So maybe it will be have a connection. So I will sing again with my real voice with the string quartet, or just play string quartet on Holy Festival, hopefully.
Shall we
Crossing
give the
fingers.
listeners an appetizer of how that can sound like? This is one of your draft recordings with Kronos Quartet of your piece Maduswara.
Yes. Yep. Yes, please.
More in the podcast, right? We should just listen to it.
Yay!
Maduswara, synergy of body and soul through sound. That's the name you gave to your podcast creation.
Yeah.
From your origins in traditional Javanese singing into the most avant-garde contemporary creation that has taken you worldwide. Hopefully that's a very instructive journey for the curious listeners that follow our series of podcasts. Aku berterima kasih banyak sekarang Mbak Peni buat karyamu, buat musikmu.
Sama-sama.
Thank you very much for your participation at this podcast series. And the way we should listen to your podcast already is a challenging way of listening. First, very new music, very unknown to most listeners around the world. And then Peni, we thank you very much for that. Struggles with her English to deliver her message the best she can. And that's lovely. Because her native language is Javanese and then Indonesian. But she really wants to share her message in English. And we really appreciate that we can get the message across. And we hope you enjoyed a lot. Matur nuwun sangat.
Sami-sami matur nuwun sangat. Mugi-mugi sukses. Semoga sukses teman-teman semua.